close out my first Cape York trip, we're going to do a bit of a brief Q&A, I guess. What worked, what didn't work, what broke, what didn't break, highlights, lowlights, all that sort of stuff. So let's get into it. This laser cut draw table from King's for $89. Absolutely worth the money. I could stick the whole baby Q Weber on there, supported it fine. Plenty of area because I was just camping out of the car. Highly recommend. Only having the two drawers didn't seem to work. I think I'm going to add another drawer on this side here, above there, so I can have like recovery gear and tooling down here, probably kitchen gear and all the stuff that's in here. Have that up higher, and then I've got food in this one here, so that's something I'm going to change for next time. Having the baby Q was good to cook on, but rattled like buggery in the back there. Ended up having to take the plates out, divide them with cardboard and tape them together. So wouldn't recommend traveling with one of those in the back of your car. I'd probably stick with a, a decent briefcase style gas cooktop. Having the fishing rods up in here on this little suspension system I dodgied up out of bungee straps. No rattles there. Perfect for traveling with them inside the car so your good rods don't get damaged. That definitely worked. Pulling the rear seats out of the Prado to make more room was about the only choice I had, but everything's in there pretty jumbled. It seemed like everything I wanted to get was always at the bottom. Even with using these clear bags, that was about the only way I got away with it. Not really any other way to do that without a camper trailer or some sort of trailer, so I'm just gonna have to deal with that until I get the toy hauler finished. If you like drinking decent coffee, AeroPress, about $50, $55 from the guys at Tent World. I'll put a link in the description. And a jet boil. Boil your hot water in there, put your ground coffee in, pour the hot water in, plunge it down into your cup. Definitely got me through each day. The Ram mount you see in the car with the iPad mounted to it, absolutely fantastic. That thing didn't flick around or really wobble at all. It sat there perfect with the maps on it. Highly recommend that. I'll throw a link below if you want to grab one of those. And another thing that definitely worked that I did just before the trip, don't know how good you can see it in the sun, but I got a banner of tinting across the top of the windscreen. Blocks out the sun that comes between your sun visors, so absolutely brilliant when you're driving with the sun in your eyes. The King's 270 degree awning, it's still holding up, no issues, nothing broke. Like all these awnings, you need to be careful the wind doesn't get under it and flip it over because that's going to give you a bad time, but almost happened once, threw a couple of pegs in, all good. Plenty of shade underneath it. There was a few isolated showers some nights. We put the swags just under the corner of it with the awning wall on. Just enough kind of protection from the rain. Worked fine for camping just out of a car setup, so no complaints there, no issues so far. The only improvement I've seen is the little plastic clips that clip the legs up when you're packing it away. I want to get some different style clips. They're a little bit finicky to get off when you're trying to hold it in one hand and get that off one-handed, so I might try and 3D print some other design for that. Also the little figure 8 clips that you tie onto the ends of the rope and you can just hook them in the eyelets. Heaps better than trying to tie the ropes off each time, so definitely a must-do mod. Cheapest chips from Bunnings. If you want to grab some of them clips, if you want to know what I'm talking about, I'll put the Bunnings link below. All in all, the whole setup worked really good. Really got not many complaints. I want that one extra drawer, like I said. I had to have the gas bottle in the car and I had to use a 9 kilo gas bottle. I just made sure it was shut off really tight. Most of the time the windows were down. Don't come at me. I know the risks, it's all good. I want to get a 4.5 kilo bottle for those sorts of trips, and Kaon Engineering are working on one that goes on the spare wheel mount, bolts into the center and holds it there. So I see they're doing it for the 150. I see heaps of people asking for it for the 120. So I might reach out to those guys and see if I can grab one of them. Likewise, their laser cut door card thing, whatever you call it, compared to the elastic mesh that's on there that goes all saggy, that thing's brilliant. The amount of gear that I could fit in there, tent pegs, bottle openers, fire lighters. There's even a dustpan and brush in there. There's just so much stuff in that door that's there right next to the table at arm's length, so definitely recommend that. I'll put the link to it on their website in the description if you've got a 120 and you want to grab one of them. Okay, damage, what broke? Now as you can see by the first thing I'm pointing out is just a fog light glass that's almost fallen out. Next to nothing broke. These poor little glasses in here, the glue must have let go. I think the other side's the same. They've been in there about 6 or 8 years, I think. Can't complain. I'll probably grab a new set of steady ones. Probably, good chance to do that. yeah, the other one's just hanging in there as well. So going off the roughness of the corrugation, I'm okay with that. The whole trip I only had one minor mechanical issue. Didn't really cause me any dramas, just a bit of concern and stress. After all the corrugation heading north, the real bad stuff around either side of the ferry, I pulled up and then I noticed I had this kind of pretty haggard exhaust rattle. Nothing was loose, it's just I got a 3-inch exhaust as well when I got it tuned a couple of years back. There's not much clearance where it goes over the diff. So something's moved and it at some times rattles and hits on the diff. So if I put my foot on the tailpipe and give it a bit of a kick, I can get it to stop. And this here, when I put the rock sliders on from Southern Cross Fab, one of the big heavy duty stirrups that goes up over the chassis to hold those on, was exactly in the way of this, the middle exhaust mount. I had to take that off and I put it in the shed and thought, oh yeah, I'll come back to that when I got a bit more motivation and I'll tack weld it back on or make some other holes and bolt it on, I don't know. Just never got around to it. As soon as the rattle started, I was like, yeah, this is probably why it's doing that. So mostly my fault, didn't cause me any issues. You only just hear it. There it is, that noise there. So yeah, slightly annoying, but not really anything of concern. Easily fixable. And the only other breakage, the window latch in here, the plastic broke. I just replaced the other side before I went away. They're about $100 each, so I only did the one. This one was fine before I left. Was at age, most likely, but the corrugation tipped it over the edge, I guess, so not an issue. I just got some zip ties and stuff and held it shut till I got back. So yeah, vehicle issues. Nothing significant, nothing that gave me any issues. I saw people up there with brand new Navaras that wouldn't make boost, people with water and fuel, people crashed into horses, rode their car off, so I'm not going to complain at all. The old Prado, 260, 270,000 Ks on it, no issues. Cost of the trip, I haven't tallied it up exactly, but I think it's around $4,000. That includes the gear and the servicing before I left in the Cape York trip prep videos, those two. Yeah, but it was only me and my older boy, so, you know, traveling pretty light. We did eat lunch at a fair few pubs and things like that, so we didn't have to cook. Didn't buy that many beers because I had a couple of cartons provided by some breweries that sent me some beers to review before I left. And I already had all the single cans in there from the Uncan series, so didn't really go out and buy whole cartons. Fuel, we topped up in cans, filled it up again in Han River, and then we were fine all the way up until we went to leave to come back south, filled up at the BP at Bamaga, and then I think I didn't need to fill up again from there until I got all the way down around Mariba and then home, but Prado does hold 180 litres, so fair bit of range. Highlights and lowlights of a first time Cape York trip. For me, highlight would be Fruitbat Falls. I've watched that place on TV and YouTube videos for about 7 or 8 years. Definitely got goosebumps walking down the pathway down to the falls. Absolutely beautiful. Low light of the trip, look, easily the amount of rubbish on the east coast when you do the Somerset 5 Beaches run. Just the rubbish all along the coastline, just mountains and mountains of it in where the waterways come out. It's just pretty confronting if you're not ready for it. I thought I was going to be driving along some nice beaches. Didn't really cross my mind, and there was just crap everywhere. I did feel slightly better on the way back. We pulled into Han River, and I noticed on the front door as you walk in, there was actually a poster for a cleanup that was coming up, which I think was the week after we left. Seems to be supported by the federal government and a few not-for-profit environmental mobs. I don't know if it's going to make a dent in it, and it's probably just going to come back anyway, so I don't know. If you're going up first time, or you're going up again, and you're going to go out 5 beaches, I don't know, take some bags and bring 3 bags each out, I don't know. There's just so much there, but I don't know, every little bit helps, I guess. To end on a positive, definitely one of the highlights on the way back down was ducking into Gunshot Creek to hopefully watch someone do the drop-in. We didn't get to see anyone do it, and I wasn't going to do it in my car, but I had to go up the chicken track through the river. that was pretty cool, and it definitely got me really keen for next year. So I'm thinking probably a week or two before school holidays start next year in June, definitely going to do the OTT. So I'll probably have the toy hauler finished by then. Well, at least I hope I will. But it's just too big and too much stress to take. It's 6.5 meters long. It's just as long as a caravan, so I'm not going to drag that through there, but probably be a vehicle only trip. Hopefully get a couple of us and do the OTT up and back. If you watch this and you're going next year in 2022, let me know in the comments. Might be able to meet up somewhere. So that's it, Cape York trip 2021, first time. Try and keep my review short and sweet. If you think I've missed anything or you got any specific questions, let me know in the comments or send me a message over on Instagram. Now we're done with the Cape trip, back to our normally scheduled programming, finishing off the buggy build, finishing off the toy hauler, so stay tuned for that. Cheers. This drawer from Kings. Fucking background noise. The Kings 270. Highlight of the trip for me. Nah.